What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Titano versus the Flash. So we get another pack here that comes with a giant ape. Of course, we got the King Kong last time, but for some reason this pack isn't labeled as it's from the Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. But Titano does appear in the comic and looks exactly like this, where he has the green like mechanical eye and mechanical arm and stuff like that. So it's weird that this box doesn't have him labeled from that comic storyline, since they're doing all this stuff, of course, reusing that body from King Kong as well. So it just would make sense for it to be a part of that. But like I said, for some reason they didn't label it, but we could still have it a part of that. And then we just get a Flash for him to face off again. So just looks like the normal Flash we've had multiple times before. Maybe a little bit color variation, looks like with some gold. And of course his body looks sort of weird. I don't know if it'll come through the camera, but some different reds going on there, which is awkward. But still a cool 2-pack, getting another 8 character to go along with our Kong we already got. So I'm excited to check this out. So let me get him out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. So we're going to start off with Titano, which was formerly a chimpanzee named Toto that was sent into space on a rocket, but was bombarded by radiation and turned it into a giant ape with kryptonite-based abilities. So he returned to Earth, rampaging through Metropolis and capturing Lois Lane until Superman was able to stop him and sends him through a time barrier back to the prehistoric past. So very cool for Titano here. Of course, that's just like an old classic story. Obviously, for everything going on with this version of Titano is going to be different, with it being the more modern days. And as I mentioned, he does appear in the Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, and this sort of design with the green like robotic hand and eye and all that sort of stuff, the scratches. So he does fit more along those lines. But Titano has superhuman strength and durability, as well as can shoot a kryptonite beam from his eye. So that's why he's got the big robotic eye there, very similar to Cyborg. But overall looks cool. Of course, body wise, he's going to be exactly the same as Kong. He reuses the same body. But I do like that they did switch out the head. Now it's probably not really that noticeable or anything, but at least to me, of course, like with the ears and stuff sticking out, he does have more of like a chimpanzee sort of face design, which is nice, makes it a little different, stand out, as opposed to Kong that had more of the like gorilla face and stuff, so it just makes it stand out. But loved like the mechanics around his eye, the green tongue or green mouth, I guess you'd say, in there, which is cool. Nice scratches along his chest, very similar to what Kong had, but in green this time, scratches up on his shoulders as well like that. Then he has some robotics going on his arm, so of course they did like remold arm stuff with the robotics or mechanics going on here, so he has more of the robotic arm going down into the hand, where he's got more of the mechanical hand on his thumb and pointer finger there. So the rest of the hand though is all normal. So again, a little bit different sculpt going on there, but otherwise everything else should be exactly the same, just obviously recolored from Kong being brown to this one being mostly black with like the gray skin on there. But overall looks pretty good. Now movement wise, the head should be able to twist. Of course with the fur, I always don't know how much it'll twist. Doesn't feel like it's going to go all the way around, but it'll definitely twist side to side, and just very little rocking, so not much at all. The arms will twist all the way around. So again, with these we don't have very much movement, so just a little twisting all the way around there. We do get the hands to move as well, so they'll twist around and have some rocking back and forth, and then he'll twist around at the waist, so he'll twist there. It's really all that he does, so you just get those limited movements there. So not the best, obviously we dealt with that with Kong, just complete reuse of that, but it does work out fine, as long as it stands and stuff. That's all I really care about, and it does, so that works out just fine for me. The only thing he comes with is his card. So there we have a picture of Titano. Again, doesn't say specifically what it's from at all. And then, of course, have some of his story here, which says, sent on a mission to space, Toto the chimpanzee was exposed to uranium and kryptonite-infused radiation. When he returned to Earth, Toto grew larger than any known dinosaur and gained deadly kryptonite vision. Lois Lane renamed him Titano, and along with Superman, captured the colossal ape before he could cause any catastrophic calamities. So there's more story there on Titano, of course, coming from the old comics, it sounds like there. And with Titano, of course, he is based off Kong, so here we have the Kong that he can face off against. Like I said, I don't know if they face off in the comics. I haven't really seen much of it, besides that he does appear in that comic storyline at the beginning, so they could face off though. Looks like Kong maybe say tiny, but like a little bit smidge taller, just a tiny bit with the way he's positioned and all that, but they can face off against each other. So nice reuse of that Kong design to get different characters out and stuff. Of course here with Titano, the giant chimpanzee, which looks really nice, and especially love the green designs that they added to him. And of course the pack also came with the Flash, also known as Barry Allen, so it looks pretty good here. Of course this is the design we had before with like the New 52 or Rebirth, whatever you want to say, around there. He does have a little bit different design with like the earpieces here. I love how they're much like this much more simpler sort of design, but there is something weird going on with his body. I think it's coming through the camera, I can sort of see it, but who knows with editing and everything what it'll look like. So most of his body is like a darker red, and there's even some sort of design like it's been painted over, so I'm not exactly sure what they did, because it's almost got a bluish or sort of purple design design unless they added a wash over it, but none of this stuff is labeled as it's from anything particular. As I said, they do appear, of course, in the Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, so it may be more of that design, but it's just weird because of the different colors going on. So like I said, it's got this like a little bit darker red, so it's on his helmet, coming down the shoulders midsection, but then when we get to the limbs, so like the elbows are more of just a normal red, the butterfly little joint piece or whatever up in here is normal red, and then the legs are normal red, so from the knees down are normal red. Then, of course, we have the gold boots, gold belt, gold logo there on his chest, and, of course, the wing pieces off his ears as well. So just with, like, the dark red and the light, like, normal color red, it's just, like, looks awkward and weird with all the different shades of red going on. So definitely a weird figure. I don't know if they were trying to do some particular. I can really see the blue in there. Like, it's got, like, a blue wash, like I said, or something's going on with blue. I don't know if it's blue underneath and they just tried to paint red over the top of it and it made it look like this or what the deal is. Just something looks off about it. The head, I think, looks really good. Nice design there for the Barry Allen head stuff. Just, yeah, some with those colors just makes this look really weird. But movement-wise, the head will twist all the way around. He can look down that far and up that far, so just about straight on there. So not a whole lot of range, unfortunately. The shoulders will come up to 90 with the butterfly and rotate around with the bicep twist and the double elbow joint that bends all the way up on itself there, which is not too bad. Wrist will twist all the way around and flex, of course, there on the ball joint, so they'll flex up and down. Then we go to the ab crunch, so upper ab crunch, flex back and forth and twist, and then down to the waist, so crunch back and forth and twist all the way around. Then we get the hips that come up to 90 and out to the side. No thigh twist on him, but the double knee joint that'll bend up that far to the back. And of course, go down to the foot that'll rock back and forth and twist side to side with the toe joint on the end. So decent movements overall, you know, pretty standard for the McFarlane, so nothing surprising there. He doesn't really have any pieces of his outfit or anything that can get in the way, so he works out just fine with no inhibitions. Now, he doesn't come with any accessories. We just get a base plate to put him on, so we'll do that. So that'll keep him standing. And then, of course, he comes with a card as well, but it's just a generic flash. Like, it doesn't say it's from anything. And then the back is just very generic flash stuff of Barry Allen, so nothing really interesting going on there with that. But as I said, we've had to have this figure before, so here's just another flash figure design. Of course, I can never remember if it's New 52 or Rebirth, whatever, but there's just what it normally looks like with the all standard red. But again, with the mismatched colors of whatever's going on with this buddy is kind of awkward, but there's just the differences of our two flashes there. Overall, not bad. Of course, it just looks like flash, so nothing too surprising there. I do like the gold, and then the red would be cool if it was all this red, but since they didn't do every part of it, it kind of looks awkward with that darker red and whatever blue wash is going on underneath it. So the figure is definitely not perfect. It definitely has something going on with it that I'm not sure what. So it's definitely the least interesting part of this 2-pack. So that's a bit for our DC Multiverse Titano versus Flash 2-pack, where we got Titano, the giant chimpanzee, and the Flash. So pretty decent 2-pack overall. Like I said, just wish this Flash was much better because he's just definitely a thrown character this with the weird design and all that. But Titano definitely looks cool. Love the ape design with the green on it, makes it stand out. So very awesome to add him to the collection as well. So let me know what you thought of this 2-pack down in the comments. And if you enjoyed my review, let me know with that like. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.